Start recording. Hello, my name is Senta Sellars, and I'm here to walk you through the research process for leadership and followership. Okay, let's go to the Deetz library webpage. So I'm going to share my screen with you. This is what our library webpage looks like. Don't worry about memorizing this URL. You can simply type in Deetz library into Google search, and it should come up. It should be one of the first search results you get, if not the first. So this is what our library webpage looks like. It's pretty user-friendly, I think. This is a sliding menu. This is new things that we've got on offer. Things like if we have to put something up because EasyBib is requiring a coupon code, we'll have it here. News about new databases we've recently subscribed to. We have an online movie service for people who are on campus. So information like that. It can be useful for you, but it may not be as useful as the actual Deetz search feature on our webpage. And this is a really great feature. It searches all of our databases. So not just, those that are specific to maybe leadership or followership, but those that are very general and work for all academic disciplines and those in other disciplines as well. So for things like business and education. We also have research guides, which are subject specific. We do have one that is specifically made for leadership, so that's a great one to look at. And we have something called WorldCat. This searches library databases and library catalogs from all around the world. And so this is something to use if you really can't find what you're looking for. But typically, I think for this course, you should be able to find what you need using either Deetz search or a research guide. So the big thing to keep in mind when you begin your research is to really think about what you're looking for, is to come up with good keywords to search for. It's a bit like when you search in Google, you try to find, relevant topic keywords for your search. So if you're looking for, cat videos, that's what you type in. It's similar to what you need to do for when you're looking for information for an academic paper. So think about what you're writing about. Are you searching for leadership traits in a particular industry or followership ideas? So just remember, it's good to narrow it down. And sometimes if you don't find what you're looking for, think of a synonym. So I'm going to look for leadership traits in human resources and click on search. Now you notice I went to Leadership Research Guide. This takes me here. It made me type everything in one search bar. That's fine. Initially, we've gotten a huge number of results, so almost 300,000, which is probably too many. There are a couple of things we can do. You can go ahead and look through these articles and see if you find any that are relevant. I'm not totally convinced through a quick scan that they are. You can limit them to full text. This means that you will have the PDF link or the HTML link down here so you can actually see the entire article. If you don't, click on that limiter. Sometimes what you see is just this request this item through interlibrary loan, which I'll explain about later. And you'll notice that because we're searching such a large variety of databases from all over the world, that we get things that are actually not in English sometimes. This could be fine if you or your professor read another language, but oftentimes we're probably going to want to limit our search results for English only. The way to do that is to go down here, click on language, and then click on the little box that says English, and this will update our results. These are called limiters because they filter our search results down. So we've actually got, our search results have gone down by about 30,000 now. So that's pretty good, but we still have a lot. And I'm still not overly convinced that these are particularly relevant to what I'm looking for. What to do when this happens is to go to advanced search. This gives you multiple fields to search in. See, now we have 3 search boxes essentially. So I'm going to say, let's keep that word leadership there. Let's get rid of resources. And then I'm going to type in human resources. And then it comes up with management, and that's really what I'm after. So I'm going to combine these two terms. This is something we call a Boolean operator. So think of it like a Venn diagram. You're saying, leadership and human resources. You could say leadership and not human resources. That would be finding articles about leadership that do not mention human resources. So it would be like everything but human resources. And then finally, if you wanted to have a really broad search, you could do leadership or human resources. So that's finding all articles that either mention leadership or human resources. So that's going to give us a huge number of results. I typically choose and. Not can come in handy if you're searching for a particular word that might have more than one meaning. Sometimes brand names in particular. So for instance, if you're looking for Puma the animal, you can type in Puma and then not and then shoe on the second line. So keep that in mind if you are looking for something that might have more than one meaning. Okay. These are search term limiters. So this is our search term, and these are how we tell this database how to search for it. Unlike Google, it's a little bit more sophisticated. Actually, it's quite a bit more sophisticated. And then in that, you can really tell it how you want it to search for something. Title can be very specific and really give you relevant things, as can subject terms. I would go with either one. Title means that the word leadership will actually appear in the title of the resource that you're looking for. So, for instance, the title of the ebook or the title of the academic journal article. So I'm actually going to click on that. And then I'm also going to click on title for the second search term, so human resources management. I'm searching that as one term. And then I'm going to click on search. And that was actually too specific. No results were found. Let's backtrack if that happens. Let's try subject term. Let's see if we find anything this way. We've only got 2. So that tells me I need to backtrack even farther. So if it becomes a problem where you're not getting good results, go ahead and say abstract. The abstract is the summary of either a book or a journal article. And it's a good idea, if these terms appear in the summary of something, think of it as like the blurb on the back of a book, that we're going to be able to find that in the search. Like that will be a particularly relevant search. Okay, so we get 56 things here, and I'm still not having a great time with these. It's giving me all results. It's saying, okay, the different subjects, but these aren't really what I'm looking for. So I'm going to keep going, guys. I'm going to keep going back. And all text, this means, anywhere within an article, we're looking for this. Okay, this looks a bit better. The future of human resources management, evidence-based human resources management, are human resource practices linked to employee misconduct. Okay. This one looks like a good one. So this one mentions organizational conflict management, kind of suggests human resources, and leadership. This is something we actually don't have in the library, so you would have to request this through interlibrary loan. If this happens to you, that is fine. You can click on this link, and you can fill out your information. First name, your last name, your SCID number, your email, and your phone number. We'll fill in the article's information here, and then you click on submit. The interlibrary loan librarian will actually get this and process this for you. Usually for an academic journal article, which is what this is, we can process this within a couple of business days and send it back to you via your email as an attachment. If it's a print book, it will take longer, up to about a week. So just keep that in mind. Let's go back to our search results. Another article that I thought was interesting was this one, toward a better understanding of the relationship between transformational leadership, public service motivation, mission balance, and employee performance. This sounds good. Again, there's personnel management involved, but it's not exactly human resources management, is it? But it's close. If that happens to you, I would go with something like this. Then we've got a PDF full text link here. So if you click on that, this will load. It will take it some time. These PDF files can be rather large and take a while to load. You can print this out, read it. Here's the abstract, actually. A great thing to do before you read the entire article is to look at the abstract to see how relevant it is to your research topic. So for this one, this may say, okay, I'm kind of interested in this. I can work with this. Okay, after I read the abstract, it's 23 pages, like I said. You can print it out. You can email it to yourself here. I'll show you what this looks like. You just type in your email address on this line. Or you can export it to a citation tool. We have something called EasyBib. It's way down here at the bottom, the last bubble. If you click on that and click on Save, it will actually export this to EasyBib. I tend to import things without the abstracts, but if you're doing something like an annotated bibliography, importing them with the abstracts can be useful. So that is what our citation looks like in EasyBib. It automatically goes with MLA. You will most likely want to go ahead and choose APA, so just click here, and it will reformat this in APA style. Now, there is a caveat with this. You don't necessarily need to use the DOI in APA anymore. Check with your professor to see if they want you to use it or not. If they don't, you can copy and paste this portion of your citation and put it into your paper. You can do that here. It will copy it, and you just do the Control-V to paste. The parenthetical citation is just a fancy way of saying in-text citation, and it will format that in APA style if you click on this. And you can just do the Control-click up. Sorry, I usually do select it, do Control-C, and then do Control-V in the paper. So that's a really quick kind of short overview of EasyBib that as we go through this presentation, I will go into more detail. Let's go back to our search results though. So I'm going to go back to results list and see if there's anything else I can find. I'm getting a lot of stuff again that's not in English. So I'm going to say I want to look at English stuff only. And as you see, because we've limited this, because we've added more keywords up here, and because we've said, okay, we only want, English language resources, that has really limited our search results. So now we've got just over 3,000, or just under 3,000. So this is a lot better than having 300,000. Let's see. This is an interesting one. Our human resource practices linked to employee misconduct. It doesn't have the word resources it doesn't have the word leadership in the title, but it implies that this might be about leadership. That's going to be something to keep in mind when you're researching, is that sometimes things are implied by the title. There's sort of adjacent meanings. And so because you guys will be experts in the field of leadership, you will be able to spot those really easily. Again, this is something to get through interlibrary loan. You just click on the link, fill in your part of your request form, and click on the submit button. Let me go back to search results and suggest that because we're not getting really what I'm after, I mean, we could take a look at this ebook. Let's do that actually before we go on. Ebooks are great. It can be overwhelming to look at them. Just look at the table of contents. That's what I would recommend doing. This isn't actually giving me a good, here we go. It's like, here's the table of contents. All right, it's going to open up, and it looks like we're going to have to scroll through to find the table of contents. Some ebooks don't have actual table of contents, and this unfortunately might be one of them. If this happens to you, I'm sorry. These can be really difficult to use, unfortunately. But if you find a good one, it's great. So I'm not finding exactly what I'm after. Here we go. Okay, so the table of contents was hidden here under this arrow. Hey, if this happens to you, send me an email and I'll try and fix it for you. Sometimes the ebooks do take a little bit of playing around with. Okay, let's see if we can find anything that we think might be relevant to the idea of leadership in human resources. Certainly, I think understanding and managing people could have something about leadership in it too. Learn to master and play new roles as well, rethink organizations' capabilities, not structures. So it kind of suggests that there's a lot of things that have an implied relationship to leadership. Let's look at the index though and see if we can find anything specific. Sometimes with an ebook, this is the best place to go, I have found. So let's go to the L's in the index. It's taking just a little while to load. Okay, leadership, here we go. So there is some relevant material in this book. We found the term leadership. This is about the future of human resource management. I would go to each one of these pages then and see if there are particularly relevant passages. Let me see. Yes. So if I go back, what I was trying to see is if there was a place for me to type in the page number, and there is. So that will make life much easier. The place to type in the page number is just down here. So for instance, you can just type in 101, hit enter, and then page 101 comes up. So here are some areas that characterize the capabilities of future leaders. Again, this is a book about human resource management, so this is a particularly relevant passage, and that's really, really great. You can, again, export this directly to EasyBib if you would like to, just to cite it. Let me go back, though. I would use this link here, actually, to export it to EasyBib. Again, direct export to EasyBib, click on Save, and it will, again, ask you if you want to include an abstract or not. I'm not going to. I'm just going to say import this, and it's remembered my previous decision to use APA, and it has formatted this in APA style down here. So it's great. It's pretty easy. Deep search is nice, but you do have to play around with it. It is, unfortunately, more complicated than Google. The other thing to keep in mind is there is actually a citation tool within EBSCO. Sorry, that's the makers of this. So within Deetz search, or within the leadership research guide. If you click on Cite, you'll find APA listed, and you can copy and paste this. I would say be careful about copying and pasting things from if you're using either the Leadership Research Guide or Deetz Search. You'll find that they look very similar. I'll show you Deetz Search in just a second. You'll see that it looks basically the same. Simply because EBSCO, well, they do a decent job with this. They're not a citation company. They actually are a database banking company, and so they kind of do a very minimal job with this. So sometimes these aren't correct. It's good, though, if you want to just keep it for your own reference. If I were you, if I was wanting to actually cite this for a paper that I was going to turn in for credit, I would always go to export and direct export to EasyBib. Okay, so that was actually us going to research guides and then going to leadership and then typing in our keyword there. We have books, actual print books in the library. For leadership, we've broken down the areas where the print books can be found. Again, because many of you are off campus, this isn't super relevant, but I will show you the library's catalog. These are academic journal articles. These are all online. These are individual databases. I will tell you that using this search box up here actually takes care of searching each of these individual databases for you, so you don't need to go to them one by one. Personally, I would recommend that. And then finally, here are some websites that might be particularly useful for leadership. I've looked at some of these. Some I like better than others. The one at Psychology Today is pretty good, but it's very much a basic rundown of what leadership is. So it might be a little too basic for this course. Let me show you Deetz Search then. So Deetz Search looks very similar to what we just used, and essentially it's close to the same thing. However, as I said at the beginning, it doesn't just search databases in the leadership research guide like this does. So this searches ebooks and these databases. Deetz Search searches all of the databases across all of our subject areas. So things that are in health and sports science and things that are in English literature. Searches everything. So if you're having a hard time finding something, Deetz Search is a great place to go. So for instance, say I'm not finding very much about followership and, ooh, I like that, and social media marketing. So I'm going to Deetz Search, which is searching everything. Now, this is interesting. It searches everything, so we're going to think we're going to get a huge number of search results. But because this is a fairly specific topic, we're only getting just over 2,000. That's a pretty good amount to start out with. You can limit this, so say you only wanted full text, you can do it that way. This will, again, not lower that fairly significantly. So this means you don't have to worry about interlibrary loan if you limit to full text. If you only want peer-reviewed journal articles, sometimes in classes that's very important, it must be peer-reviewed. You can go ahead and click on this little checkbox, and it will update it for only peer-reviewed things. So that has taken this down to 381. Now, if you're concerned about the date, some courses you are only allowed to use things that have been published within, say, the last 10 years. You can adjust this accordingly, this slider. So let's do it from 2006. And now we've got 311 results, which is pretty good. These are our source types. We've got academic journals primarily, and a few reviews. Book reviews are annoying. In a class I taught, students got really annoyed whenever they find a great article and it would turn out to be a review of the great article they thought they were going to read. So go ahead and click on academic journal articles if you want to get those annoying reviews out of your search results. Okay, awesome. So say we're really, really interested in this. So we found some great stuff. You can do language again. We've got one article in Portuguese, but I don't think we'll worry about it. So you get something like this, Followership and Social Media Marketing. Sounds perfect. You can either go to Full Text Finder, View Record from Academic One file, or View Record at General One file. These are basically three separate links to the same thing. These Academic One file and General One file are just names for different databases, so don't let that confuse you. I'm going to go with the middle one and see what happens. This is loading. Here we go. So what you want to do now is either read through this, you can print it out, you can download it, you can save it here, and this also comes with citation tools. This is a little different because this is a Gale journal. It doesn't allow you to export it necessarily directly to EasyBib, but that's okay. It has really good citation tools built in. Oh, and actually it says there's EasyBib right there, so I was wrong. You can actually export this to EasyBib if you click on that link. And I have found Gale is better about doing their citations than EBSCO, the makers of Deetz Search. So you can copy and paste this. Again, you may or may not need to include all of this information. Please be sure to check with the APA style guidelines about that, because that is something that has kind of gone through some changes fairly recently. But let's export this to EasyBib. Comes up again. And here it is. And it got rid of that long URL that the other one included. So that's nice. It's really great. You can copy and paste it again into your reference list. And if you want to do in-text or parenthetical citations, you can do that here as well. Okay, so let's Deetz search. And then I've shown you the leadership research guide. The other thing to really point out on our website is if you go to services and go to writing and citation, there's some great information. This is a link directly to EasyBib. If you've never used EasyBib before, you will need to sign up and you will need to log in. I'll show you what the sign up looks like. It's like signing up for Gmail. You can type in that coupon code that has been found on our website. It's just Southwestern College, all lowercase, all one word. After you fill this in, click on sign up and you should be good to go. Okay, let's go back. The other thing to point out is we've got a number of links to APA style guidelines. My personal favorite is the OWL Online Writing Lab, produced by Purdue University, and it's got lots of great tips about using APA. APA, like any other citation format, looks at things by, or citation style, looks at things by format. So it looks at books, looks at things as articles. So a film in APA style is cited differently than a book, and an ebook is cited differently than a website. It's important to keep that in mind. This walks you through all of that. I find it really helpful, and it's great because any questions you have, usually the answers to it can be found here. So please don't forget about that resource. And finally, let's look at EasyBib in a little bit more detail now. Off campus, to access EasyBib or to access any of our library resources, I'll show you this. You will need to use, let me see if I can find it. Distance students explains it here. Okay, you will need to use your SCID as your username and the last 5 digits of your social security number as your password. So when you're using these things from home, a screen will pop up and it will ask for your login. Remember, your username is your SCID, your password is the last 5 digits of your social security number. If you do not have a social security number, your password then is the last 5 digits of your SCID. Please remember that because you will be asked to log in when you use Deetz Search or EasyBib or any of our resources from the library webpage. Finally, we have an Ask a Librarian chat box here. You can type in, it's 24/7. Now, I will say it will always be a librarian associated with Southwestern College that will answer your question, but it will be a librarian somewhere, usually within the United States, that answers your question. It works really well. People use it all the time, and they find it very helpful. Okay, so let's go back to EasyBib. Okay, EasyBib's great. There are a couple of things to keep in mind. Once you log in, you can do things like create folders for particular projects. So I'm going to log in with my login information, which I've had it saved. So I'm just going to click there. And I've made a number of folders. So you can say, new project, okay, followership paper. You can choose subjects, what you're writing about, default style, probably going to be APA. I'll click on create and it will make that new project. Now because I haven't imported any sources, it won't show up here. But the one I was working on earlier is just kind of a default one. It will show up here. So I'm going to click on that. And you can share it. You can email other people your bibliography. You can export the whole thing. You can print it as a Word doc or save to Google Docs. If you're a Dropbox user, it gives you that option as well. So it's pretty nice. The other thing it does, if you're out there on the web, on the internet, and say you found something, on Google, about followership, and you want to cite it. So let's say we're interested in this Forbes site, and this Forbes website about followership. Like this might be not really a blog, just a website. Oh, Forbes, giving us lots of advertisements, aren't they? Okay, well that ad's running. I'm going to show you how you can find this on EasyBit. If you just go Control-C after you select the URL, you go back to EasyBit, click on APA, Control-V, click on Cite It. It will gather the information for you. You can then go to continue to final step, and you can add more information here to your citation. So article title, for instance. I'm going to say this is my article title. You can select it, Control-C, Control-V, and then author. You can find here, so it's Peterson. Peterson, and then the day it was published. Let's see, April 23rd, 2013. Find April by itself, hopefully. There we go. And date accessed. I would say, even though it says required only to source may change over time, I think just because we found it online, even for something like Forbes, it probably could. So we'll say 19th May 2016. Create a citation, and there it is. So that's really nice. It's a really great way to do this. You can include as much information as you can about a website for APA style. And again, you can copy and paste that into your citation or reference list. Okay, and then the other thing to talk about fairly briefly is using Google. I would use just straight Google most of the time to do your research. If you're using an article from something like Forbes, that's one thing. It's fairly okay usually. But Google can lead you down a bad path of using resources that are just so-so. We want you to use the library resources because they're really been vetted. Peer review, implies that an article has been submitted and a group of experts has been reviewed that article. So if you're a psychology major, your professor submits an article for publication in the Journal of, Contemporary Psychology, the editorial board of that journal, who are other academics within that field, actually review the article, make sure the research methodology is sound, and that the article is well written, and then they publish it. So it's gone through this extensive vetting process where things online obviously have not. So with that said, I try and avoid just Googling things. It's better to always start out with the library resources first. If you are going to use Google, try and use Google Scholar. It comes up immediately if you type it in. Here's the URL if you'd like to remember it. And it functions the same way as regular Google, quote unquote. So we can type in followership and social media marketing and see what we can find. Okay, we found something right away. This looks good. There is an HTML from ProQuest. So it looks like we can look at the entire article. So let's click on it. And we can. That's great. You can download it over here. You can cite it and print it. So that's actually really nice. Sometimes you might find something within Google Scholar that isn't available. So if there isn't access to full text, it will be on this side. If that happens, that's okay. Just what I would do, for instance, if you were interested in this particular book, is copy and paste the title into Deetz search. So just bear with me while I find a good tab to go back to Deetz search with. Hold on got to wait for this to load. Okay, and then you can Control-V to paste the title there, hit enter for search, and then we can see if we've actually got access to this. And it looks like we don't. We have access to something that's similar, but we can then get this through interlibrary loan for you. So that's good. Don't pay for something online. Try and get it first through interlibrary loan and try to see if we've got it. So that's just a very brief discussion about Google Scholar. Okay. If you have any questions, please do email me or one of the other librarians. I will no longer be a librarian here at Southwestern College, but if you do need help, I would recommend that you either email Marjorie Snyder or Delene McDonald. Their contact details are here. This is Delene, she's the library director. Marjorie Snyder is actually going to be moving into my role. Here I am as the reference and instruction librarian. So please do email either one of these two ladies if you have any questions. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.